Passed over for promotion once again. That's basically the subject line of an email that landed in my inbox this week. It came from a listener named Denise. I'm going to read it to you exactly the way she wrote it. She said, Dale, my name is Denise. I'm 44 years old. And yesterday my company announced a new regional manager. It wasn't me. This is the third promotion I've been passed over for in 5 years. My performance reviews, always excellent. My team says I'm the person who holds everything together. My director even told me last year I'm one of the most dependable people in the building. And when it's time to move up, they pick someone else. This time it went to a man who's been there for 3 years. I've been here for 11. I'm frustrated. I'm embarrassed. And honestly, I'm starting to wonder if this is just who I am now. The dependable one who never gets picked. Should I keep waiting? Should I start looking somewhere else? Or is there something everybody else can see that I can't? Denise. So that's a typical kind of email that I will see from people. I get some version of this email all the time. Sometimes it's a conversation, sometimes it's email. Maybe it's not even a promotion, maybe it's a raise, a leadership role, a project that went to somebody else, right? It's all the same kind of thing. I'm passed over and somebody else has been given a role that I am ready for. But underneath every one of these emails or conversations is the same question. Why do good people who are good at their work, get stuck? So I'm not going to make this episode here all about office politics. We oftentimes like to go and blame things on others instead of taking action, and it's just exhausting. I hate hearing it, and then probably so do you. But I would rather focus on the reality of the politics. They're real, but what can you do instead? What kind of actions can you take? It's how careers actually work, and most people never get taught this. They never learn this. So a couple points just to note. Point number one, you were hired for a job. That sounds obvious, but you were hired to do a job, not to get promoted or anything else. Companies get very good at seeing you at the thing that you already know how to do, right? That's what they hired you for. So expect that. If you're good at what you do, expect them to get used to you in that position and expect to get stuck. So you kind of have to think through. You are doing your job. You're doing what they paid you for. And your reward is to keep getting paid. All right, that's not what you want to hear. But just get that in your framework, in your mind, and recognize that. Number two, or point two, just a couple points to make, is reliability becomes a trap. The better you are at your current job, the harder it is for people above you to picture you doing a different one. And point three, promotions aren't rewards. Let me say that again. Promotions are not rewards. We don't say, good job, Denise. So here's your reward, a promotion. Promotions are an investment from the company, right? Companies don't promote the person who earned it. They promote the person they believe can solve next year's problem. That's really, really important. And we think of this entitlement thing that I earned this promotion. No, you earned your current job. So, but we're going to get there. We're going to get to the next part. So I'm going to help you get out of this, specifically Denise. No, point four, waiting is a strategy. It's usually not a good one, but this is the trap Denise, in this case, is in. And here's the part that changes everything. Let me stop right here. Here's a part that changes everything for you. If you find yourself stuck here, if you're stuck somewhere like Denise, we have an exercise. If you want a place to start working through this instead of just kind of feeling stuck by it, grab our Moving Past Obstacles. It's at the end of the show notes or at adelcallahan.com. It's free and it's built exactly for this moment to help you see your obstacles and move out of them. See, the moment you realize your career belongs to you, not your employer, everything changes. Right? It's your career, not theirs. So let me give you the plan here that we would talk about for Denise. And Denise, I hope you're listening, because if not, well, I'll send you the link. But here's what I would tell Denise to do if she was sitting right here in front of me. 4 things. All of them start this month. Now, and I see so much advice online and LinkedIn and things like that. People will say, well, I got passed over, so do some different things and see what happens next year. I hate that. Who wants to wait a year to see if something is working or not? That's what we call a lagging indicator in the corporate world, right? You probably live by these. We want to look for leading indicators. What things can Denise do? And I want to see some signals. If I'm Denise, I want to see some signals pretty quickly. So let's talk about how to do that. Here's what I'd actually tell Denise to do. 4 things. All of them start this month. First, get the real answer. Don't guess. Right? When you get this kind of feedback, you're guessing at what happened, what's wrong. You get Denise, you're seeing what she's saying. She's reading things into herself. She's judging who she is. I'll never be this person. And so they're all guessing. You're figuring out, and you're letting your head go wild with things that are not true, because you don't know the truth. So what you want to do is get the real answer, right? So let me give you this example. Bob, we'll use his name as Bob, but he was telling me he got passed over. He got told he would not work well with other teams. In other words, what Bob did is he got the feedback. He realized he got passed over for the umpth time, and he went to his boss and started saying, hey, what's wrong? I want to be in the next position. What's wrong with me? And he went to his boss, and he went to his boss's boss, and he wasn't accusing them. He was just saying, give me some feedback, right? And when you ask for people for hard feedback, what's wrong with me? So what Bob got told is he would not work with other teams. He said they saw him, the teams saw him as distant. But the truth was, Bob, he solved all the problems himself, and he just kind of smiled and did the job. He was just one of these guys that just jumped in there, did things, and handed it off. So maybe a loner type of thing, but they saw him as distant, aloof, and didn't want to work with other people. So instead, what he started doing was he started getting feedback and input from others on the job, and that things changed things and changed things really fast. Because he just started going out and saying, hey, here's the problem, or here's what we're working on. And he just started communicating. It wasn't really a big deal, as he just started talking to other people about what he was trying to do and listening to whether he was solving their problem. Very minor changes. I remember him telling me these are insignificant changes that he made, and he didn't even realize why anybody would care. But he started kind of having fun with it, right? He recognizing that he was getting some good feedback. So anyway, that's a fast change. What Bob saw was something fast. Number 2 is fix a problem leadership already knows about. There are problems all around you. There are problems that when you go into meetings, we're always talking about the same problem. And there's just kind of some kind of acceptance that this is a problem and nobody is fixing it. And even your boss and your boss's bosses, these kind of things. This is just a annoyance kind of problem. It may cost money, it may not. And then in every business and every industry, there's these accepted issues. And they're not good or bad. Well, they're not. They're not good, that's for sure. So I guess they're bad. Let me give you an example. We'll call her Sally. She worked for a manufacturing plant, and Sally had a waste issue that was a constant annoyance, right? Yet it was accepted by the factory she worked for. As things went through, they always had this leftover things. And the leftover raw material always went to waste. And they would try to recycle it, right? We're going to try to put it back in. But it was this annoying pattern of doing things. But the reason for the waste, the reason they were having this problem, that there was leftover waste, it was the product that came out the end was fine. There was no problem with it. It was just that there was this process that they had to do to constantly recover the waste and try to recycle it. And of course, because of that, it did not recycle. And you know the pattern. But the reason for having the waste in the first place, she realized, was just poor process in the build in the factory. So she just addressed it and fixed almost 100% of the problem, and she became a hero. Now that I say all that relatively quickly, but that was, she had to go start talking to people. But it was one of those things that they already knew what the problem was. They already knew there was poor process, and everybody kind of just accepted it, right? And so she had to kind of dive in there. There was a little bit of resistance at first, and she was like, "No, let's try to fix this." But when she did, it was a game changer, right? And she got noticed as a game changer by a lot of people. She fixed almost 100% of the problem, and was a hero. So there's two things to do: get the facts and start solving some annoying problem out there. It doesn't have to be a big one, right? But it has to be one that's annoying to the leadership, not just annoying to you. Not like my stapler always runs out of staples. I mean, it has to be annoying to when you sit in meetings. We talk about it. And they're there. There's a million of them. Consultants make a fortune off of these kind of things. So, no, third thing to do for Denise: watch for 3 signals in the next 60 days. All right, this is not a 12-month thing. The 3 signals I would probably look for, and you might find some other ones, but the things I think are the key is: are you invited into a room that you weren't invited into before? Are you suddenly like, "Hey, can you show up at this meeting that's a standing meeting that normally you're not there?" Or places that you are maybe uncomfortable going into, but your boss or somebody says, "Hey, can you be here?" That's a signal. Another signal would be: does your boss mention what you did to someone else without you bringing it up? Does your boss talk about your work and your results without you bringing it up? That's a signal. And another one is: are you asked for input on something above your current role? Or did people ask for your input? Now, probably if you're being called into meetings, that's going to happen one way or another. All right. So, but what you're looking for is, again, the leading indicators instead of the lagging indicators. So, here's another thing I would do. Here is a 4th thing I would do. I'm not sure I can count right, but let's go with this as 4. Is I would tell Denise to open up one outside conversation now. And what I mean is outside the company, start developing an outside conversation. So let me Brian, one of my clients, was in this situation. He was in a situation he couldn't move up, kind of felt stuck. So he started reaching out to people outside of his company and even in his industry. Well, they were mostly they had similar roles to him and had similar roles to his boss. And he wasn't trying to change jobs, but just to learn and connect with people. And he did a lot of this through an association or through a membership group that had corporate people in it, right? He started asking questions and getting connected to a couple of people. And he quickly became known outside the company. That's key, right? Because job offers come from outside. Within just a few months, he found himself on the association board where he started showing up. He starts showing up, starts helping. Remember, these are volunteer groups, and they say, "Hey, Brian, come in here and be part of the team." Now, he could have gotten another job out of this, but what he really got is that his employer noticed his leadership because his employer was also involved in this association. And it resulted in his own promotion. So, look, this is the whole idea behind the company of one. Build your visibility, build your expertise, build relationships outside of your building, if you will, if you still work in a building. Build income stream or build an income stream that doesn't depend on one manager's opinion of you. Build your options. That's the word that it seems like a lot of us are driving to. Options. Build your options before you need them. And again, if you're kind of stuck here, go to the Moving Past Obstacles. It walks you through free at dalecallahan.com or down below in the show notes. Get it today before you need it, not after, right? If you're not stuck yet, I hate to say it, but you probably will be. We all get stuck, right? We get stuck from time to time. So Denise, if you're listening, maybe stop asking why they keep passing you over. Maybe the better question is, why have you given one organization the power to decide what you're worth? So for Denise, go download Moving Past Obstacles. It's free, and it's the first step off the sideline.